Hey guys, welcome to another Hall of Fame with a very good friend of mine called Santosh Shukla. Thank you so much for coming here, and I really appreciate it. We go way back, I guess 2015-ish when I moved back from the US. Met him at CIE IIT Hyderabad. He has a very unique background. Started out as computer science, I think batch of 2005 VTU, then an MBA at XLRI, and then I guess programming until he hit the startup bug. So he leads one of India's best UI UX boutique firms, and our journey where we sort of intersected was we met at CIE, and I think we had some good conversations. And after that, he sort of enrolled us into the course. He's upskilled on AI and machine learning. So without further ado, thanks Santosh for coming again once again, and would love to know a brief summary of of your journey, etc., in your own words.
Thank you, Jayanth, for inviting me. I've gone through your previous shows, and thanks for inviting me to the show. And it's been a pleasure.
Thank you.
Yep.
Perfect. So tell us about your journey. And it's like a mixed bag. You were a programmer, then you did your MBA, and then I think you went back to corporate world, and then you jumped to the startup bandwagon.
Sure. Yeah. So I did my BTech Computer Science, completed in 2005. During that time, like every computer grad, Infosys was my dream company. Got there through college, and after that, switched to Oracle. Then worked at two US-based startups in India. I was one of the first product managers in both of them. In fact, I was the first for both of those. And this XLRI was an executive education course that I did along with the work. And I feel everyone should invest in their own upskilling and knowledge. That's the best investment anyone can have. So so that was then. And then after some time when we started this company F1 Studioz around 8.5 years back, along with my good friend with whom I was in two companies. And at some point of time, I realized that there were some major shifts happening, and I just wanted to keep myself updated. That was the reason I took up this AI/ML course. And I continue my journey. So our startup is growing, and currently we are one of the best in India. We are focused on enterprise UX, work with some of the best across the globe, like Home Depot, Carnegie Mellon University, Deutsche Telekom. In India, we work with ICICI, Kotak, some of the startups, 0 to 1 journey of Darwinbox, which is India's leading HRMS company now, a File, a Capillary, Upgrad, so Boat. So we work with some of these big brands.
Wow, that's a very impressive list of marquee clients. I think that's phenomenal. Many people actually struggle to get few clients, and you've successfully taken the big clients, etc. So it sort of gives you a very unique position, approaching. I think you're probably going to be the first, and I guess almost in like a handful of interviews where you're coming from the design perspective. So talk us a little bit more about the mindset. I know you mentioned you wanted to upskill, you're a techie at heart, or you were a techie at heart, but talk us about the mindset about why machine learning, why AI, what was the critical triggers going on 3 months, maybe 6 months before 2018, back in the day when you sort of took the course, etc. And what, the course is expensive, so but what pushed you to come on this side of the fence?
Sure. So most importantly, during our work, so we work with some of these leading clients. One of our partners is, during that time was Cognitive Scale, which is a company founded by people who were from IBM Watson. So the first general manager of IBM Watson started that company, is the chairman. Wow. And we were working with them, and they were betting big on AI, machine learning. So, and then more and more of our customers were investing in that. So it made absolute sense that I understand, one, for the larger macro worldview, but other than that, to be aware of what our customers are using AI for and what are the possibilities, so that we can consult them as an expert. Otherwise, if we just have one way of looking at things, we might completely miss out on the other parts. in our business, we say that we do not only understand the users, but we also look at technology and business. So this tech piece, obviously, there was this missing piece, which was I felt that it is important that me being at helm should be aware and at least be able to, uh, yeah, talk in the language of my clients and also make sense of any opportunities which come in the way in the future.
Wow. That's actually very impressive, because I've noticed, and I've had the good privilege of meeting a lot of people who run startups mid to small level, and they're so engrossed and focused in it with their daily problems that they sort of, A, they don't have the time or the bandwidth, and B, they don't even have the vision saying, okay, I'm missing something, I need to go upskill, I need to invest. So that must have been really hard. So talk us a little bit about also the journey. I mean, I remember seeing you in classrooms, and you definitely didn't just show up, put the attendance and leave. You were there towards the end trying to figure it out. And the course is intense. So can you talk what happened? What are the sacrifices you've made? I mean, people only see the, obviously the certificate on LinkedIn or, on the resume, but I'm sure there's a lot of story beneath that, right? What happened at house, etc.
Oh, certainly. It was tough because obviously balancing a growing company or startup along with that family. I had a young kid, so he's 8 years now. During that time, probably must have been around 4 or something. Yeah, he needed my attention as well.
Yeah.
And along with that, managing this it was tough, but I feel that from the beginning. So I studied in military school, Bangalore. So there's discipline. Sometimes if I put my mind and have that discipline edge to it, so a lot of things which passion cannot explain, discipline can. So I believe ensuring that every day putting in 1 hour at least later in the evenings to brush up on what happened in the class. And this was a weekend course that we did. Yeah. So here every weekend, whole of Saturday would be gone there, and then on Sundays, the only mantra I would say to balance work life studies was that I ensured that if I'm not able to give quantity, I'm giving quality. So we would have all our Sundays planned, as in we'll go to this place with our kid, or travel to this place and come back. Sometimes I took leave in between the weekdays because weekends were totally gone, right? So taking that leave in midweek to ensure that I'm able to balance, but it was tough. I guess the other thing is the courses are not that long duration. I took that we did a short duration course, but it was pretty. It covered all the fundamentals, so that was good.
No, perfect. I think in terms of just hanging out, etc., hanging on to the course itself is very, very difficult, and so it explains the kind of sacrifices you've sort of made.
At one point, I'll add there. So one of the good things what happened was so the team members, right, whom you meet. That also, so in any program, I feel that is also one additional value add which you get. So here, because of luck or whatever, we all 4 of us, 5 of us, which came together in a group, gelled very well, and everyone coming from different backgrounds. Somebody in project management, somebody a core techie, someone, I being an entrepreneur, somebody who's a maths teacher, right? So that perspective always helps, and we made some kind of a bond. We still meet, we talk about how we are leveraging AI. That's one. But apart from that, I think, after long time, I was able to make a group of friends together.
Got it. Perfect. I mean, I've always sort of felt the power of community. I paid a huge price on that, but I also rediscovered that. So, for instance, my alma mater, IIT Madras, I didn't actually do very well in college. So for a lot of time, I was very guilty that I had wasted a lot of my dad's money, this, that. So I was shying away for 3-4 years. I almost didn't want to go to graduation. But then later I discovered that actually that's amazing amounts of there's a huge alumni network. You just have to ask for help and somebody will give it. And it starts with small things like assignments, projects. You meet team members. You found your co-founder from like your previous startups. I think community is everything, and you have those relationships that you can tap into for the next whatever 3 years, 4 years. We are sort of continuing our thread, you and me. It's been 3-4 years. That's phenomenal. That's really good.
So yeah, very rightly said. I think one of the quotes which I believe in is play the long-term game with long-term people, right? So both of those are very important. So once you've figured out that this is a long-term type of a person with whom you'd like to spend time, yeah, you should invest in that relationship. And I think, yeah, you have been a great addition to that.
Thank you so much. That's thanks. Now, going back to some of the nitty-gritties, if you remember, I'm going to ask you like a gradient descent formula. No, I'm kidding. Just want to know, some of people also spotlight a little too heavily on the resistances. Some people come in saying, hey, you know what, I'm too senior. I'm like sort of 10 years away from coding. I started as tech, which is probably your journey with Infosys, etc. But now I don't know programming. Second resistance that they have is I was not good at math. I think math is complex. I don't know if you have that. Talk us a little bit about course apprehensions, like somebody who's on the fence and who has the disposition power to pay, but they're like, oh, maybe I'm not good enough, etc. Talk us a little bit about that mindset you might have had.
Okay. Yeah. I don't know if that is generic, because by that nature, every entrepreneur believes in taking calculated risks, right? So I don't know if that is true for all professionals.
Yeah.
But yes, getting out of comfort zone is a habit, right? It happens. So we know that many a times it will happen.
Yeah.
Now, what happens beyond it, we'll see when it happens, right? So that was a plunge. The other thing is, I remember very clearly that I had called you up to understand that, is this right for me and all that. And you really helped in making sure that before the course starts, brush up on your maths and little bit of Python, etc.
Yeah.
And that helped a lot, right? So
I'm
very sure that a lot of maths concepts, yes, that eigenvector and all of that, I do not understand much. But yes, I think, yeah, I understand the fundamentals, but applying them, as in doing that math or writing complex Python program is also, I felt that I probably would not need it much, because I was getting into this course from the perspective of uh, finding opportunities where AI and machine learning can be implemented. And how it can be implemented, I think there would be smarter people whom I can work with, or hire team members who would be able to do that. Hence, I probably focused a lot more on the types of problems where AI and machine learning are really helpful, and identifying those opportunities is where I think I focused. I did pay attention in the class, and yeah, so I think that is where I'd like to put it.
Perfect. Yeah. Thanks for that sort of insight on that. Yeah. So now that we finished sort of pre-course and during course, let's talk a little bit about post-course. How has upskilling in AI sort of changed your lens? I mean, it's about seeing the same event very, very differently in terms of the opportunities you mentioned, in terms of driving client conversation, in terms of perhaps with UI UX or the design world, which I don't have too much, frankly, idea about. How did your eyes and your perspective change?
Oh, I'd say a lot. Number one, in a lot of these client conversations, I'm able to identify direct opportunities, which I say that this is a perfect use case for applying machine learning. Wow. And good thing is, a lot of these founders themselves are aware of that, right? Okay. So, and then they are many a time saying that, okay, we'll get to that after some time. And a lot of times, whatever is being pushed as AI/ML, I feel initially people are trying to solve it with their own knowledge and rules, etc. And then later they actually, when they have data, then they start building machine learning models, etc. Right? So that is there. How else it has helped is one of the big things is in our day-to-day work, we use a lot of tools which are leveraging AI. So as simple as we create these user personas, right? Yeah. For any application. And earlier we used to, let's say once we've defined that it's a 30-year-old mail, office going, etc., then we'll try to go and do Google search and find somebody's picture and then put it. But then now what we do is we go to that site which is this person does not exist. So they really look like someone next
Yeah.
door or a real human, but it is, yeah. So nobody would, we are not infringing anybody's rights there or IP issues. So that's one use. Second, we use remove BG very much, right? So a lot of places wherein we have to remove the background. So that's a good use case. A pairing of fonts. So
Yeah.
what good font goes with another one. So that a website called as Font Joy is there. So
Yeah.
there are so many of these small tools which we are using, which is helping us in our day-to-day activities.
Right.
Then copy.ai, which is for writing good copy.
Yeah.
Then other tools which we have used, let's say Grammarly telling you the tone of your email message, etc. So those are all generic use cases which we have tried to leverage in our day-to-day UX UI. But other than that, I think data visualization is also a
Yeah.
good place wherein we can leverage some of it.
Yeah, I always have that analogy with cars. So you can either be the driver driving the Mercedes Benz or the mechanic driving the Mercedes Benz. You at least know a little bit about what's happening under the hood, and it's actually very powerful because the thrill is good. B, you also can maybe customize, maybe tell your downstream staff a lot more, supervision or some new innovative creative ideas.
Correct. And one thing which is true for any course, I feel, is that revision, right? So I think I certainly missed on that, but I'd like to do it.
Yeah.
So a refresher, if you're not using any skill that you just used, learned
Yeah.
for a good amount of time, then probably it just goes down, right? So that is something which I feel I should do, and I would
Yeah.
urge anyone who is going through a course to ensure that
Yeah.
if they are not using it on a day-to-day basis, then at least every 2 months, just do a refresher, go through your course material,
Yeah.
etc. Yeah.
No, fair enough. I think especially with AI and or all the sisters or adjacent territories like big data, all these technologies are evolving so rapidly. Like even what I learned a year ago is kind of outdated right now. It's extremely fast paced changes. Perfect.
Good thing is, yeah, the courses, at least which you are looking at or have created, yeah, you are ensuring that it's always up to date
Yeah.
and you revise it, etc. So that's awesome.
Yeah. Perfect. And which sort of segues into the last question. So what's next for you in terms of where are you going? Where's your journey looking like? In 2 or 3 years. And B is how do you think? What is your outlook on AI? From your perspective.
Okay. So I think AI and ML is no longer tech of the future, right? It is, it has been there and now it is getting mainstream. And I feel uh, it is the new normal or the baseline. So if somebody isn't aware of it, and then I think they are at a big loss,
Yeah.
right? So it is no longer additional advantage. It is more like to be at the level playing field, you need to be aware of all of it, right?
Yeah.
Otherwise you'll be left behind. And also this I tell to some of my friends, right? Some of the disciplines are getting, yeah, not so lucrative, etc. Like
Yeah.
I started my journey at Infosys. They put you in whatever stream they want, right? So since we were all computer science, they had a need in the production. So our training did not even complete. They put us in software testing. And right after 15 days, we were put, and we were told that you'll come back to training. But then once you get into production and helping clients, after that, nobody is bothered to bring you back for training. So what I realized is over time, yeah, I still feel software testing is a great important value add. However, the opportunities have shrunk significantly.
Yeah.
Similarly, people in service industry, right? A lot of them are now finding themselves at loss of opportunities. Also, I keep recommending them that they need to upskill and uh, learn something which is going to, at least for their career perspective, be relevant for next, let's say, 10 to 15 years. And the first thing which I tell is that pick artificial intelligence or machine learning, to be precise. I think it is more easier for them to understand. and the applications are much more than complex ones, right? So that is what I tell, that everyone needs to upskill, and not only just so this would ensure that this would evolve, and they can remain relevant for next decade or so.
No, 100%. I think even this is just as an individual level, and if you may slightly digress, even if you look at the companies, the Alphabet, Google's parent, plus Facebook, the combined market cap, which is 2.8 trillion, is bigger than the Indian GDP. So, and this is as of August 2021, and that is not unsurprising, because these five companies, like the FANGs, the Facebook, Apple, Netflix, Google's, etc., they recognized 4-5 years ago that data is going to play a significant, like a mode, etc. And like you said, it's the need of the hour. And unfortunately, and conversely, companies that have not leveraged that have been left behind. And I won't, like you've mentioned a few names, companies that have not acted on it, companies that have not sprung on it, been proactive, have just been, blown to smithereens. And somebody, a good founder friend of mine was telling, that's casualty, that will happen. So you're very right. So this applies to individuals as well. If you upskill and you use it, you're going to be, flying. If you don't, you're going deep into the Pacific Ocean and abyss.
Oh, that's true. And it happens much faster than you can understand, right? So for a very long time, it feels like, no, it will not happen to me. And then all of a sudden it's like the COVID pandemic wave, right? And it hits really hard.
Yeah.
And, yeah. And as they say, the future is, somebody said, right, future is already here. It's just not evenly distributed.
True.
So people just need to look at what is happening in China and the use cases of AI, ML in their day-to-day lives, express checkout, all of that. I think, we all should at least be aware of what's going to happen. And we were fortunate to see some technology shifts happening in our lives, right? Like probably you also would have seen along back, like landlines, and then how all of a sudden landlines to pagers, and then satellite phone, and then mobile phone. And now mobile phone is more like a computer, right? Much more powerful. So that same shift is happening, has already started happening in a big way. And we as mostly Indians have a great opportunity, because I think Indians are great. Once they have found that this thing will pick or is good, then we are able to shift. We are able to do that. So it's not too late, I would say, for India to become an AI superpower. And some of the institutes are at forefront, which are helping and creating these courses, which are allowing us to do that sooner. So I would say, yes, all the best to people like you for helping skill India for the next level, right? So it's skilling of a different level and very crucial.
No, 100%. So, which actually two parts. I just want to respond. The first thing is, when you mentioned the future is already here. So one of my friends who's also a founder, pretty street smart, he would always, like, he said future is here, but he acted on it. He took flights to Japan and back, and China and back, and he would do that every year. I was like, wait, what? And I did that once, but unsuccessfully, to China. But you're right. So, and he literally acted on it. You get to know what is the trending technologies, etc. And you can, and we are monkeys first, right? We ape really well. Learning, as you know, in deep learning as well, is extremely difficult. It doesn't start learning unless it's some 10 epochs or 20 epochs. You're absolutely right on that. It's our bit. So I always say, see, it's not about the 100 people you train, or 100 people whom you've had the opportunity and the privilege to train. It's that one person who's going to make that difference, one lady or one guy who can actually knock it out of the park. Yeah,
certainly. And everyone else is also going to be doing great. At least, they would survive the wave, right? So they'll do well for themselves. So yes, it's a huge opportunity. But on top of that, people who are upskilling are avoiding their obsolescence. So I would be blunt as that.
That's pretty indelicate.
Yes, it's very important. Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Santosh, for having you here and reconnecting after a long time. I've had the privilege of not just meeting you, knowing you, but also you being in the course. So that's awesome. I wish you a lot more success. I hope you use AI or for this venture, new verticals, or maybe your next new venture, whatever you embark on.
Thank you so much, Jayanth, and pleasure being on the show. Thanks a lot, and I wish all your listeners the best.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, bye bye.